President Trump signing the big, beautiful bill into law on July 4th, celebrating with a military family picnic at the White House. So the bill extends the 2017 tax cuts, phases in cuts to Medicaid over time, did finalize a significant legislative victory for the Trump administration after all was said and done. House Speaker Mike Johnson telling Fox about what comes next when it comes to reconciliation. Watch this.
We have always planned to do the first big reconciliation bill, which is the big, beautiful bill. Now it's done a huge leap forward for our priorities. But then also we've been planning a second reconciliation bill for the fall that would be attached to the next fiscal year, and then potentially one in the spring. That's my plan. 3 reconciliations bills before this Congress is over. You'll see more of us advancing these common sense principles to deliver that America First agenda for the people.
I want to bring in New York Congressman Nick Langworthy. He's a member of the House Oversight and Rules Committee's congressman. And I want to get your reaction to Speaker Johnson yesterday. Maybe he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize after getting everyone on board in what was a very long, protracted fight. But again, the deadline was met, and that was the July 4th holiday.
Well, good morning, Cheryl. I really do want to salute the speaker and our entire team and the leadership, and most importantly, President Trump for bringing the party together to get big things done. And that's what we've accomplished here with one big, beautiful bill. It was a wonderful day at the White House on the 4th of July to see that signed into law. And we've essentially tackled an entire Congress's agenda in one legislative exercise. And it was messy at times, but it came together. We came together as Republicans to deliver for the American people and fulfill the promises that we made in the election. And the reason that 77 million people came out and supported President Trump and his agenda, and we got it done. And now we have to go on to the next tasks. We have a government funding exercise that is going to be complicated, and I'm sure the Democrats are going to try to slow us down there. But future reconciliations can be very successful if we can get an additional agenda that we can all get the whole team behind.
Okay, well, let me listen to what he told Fox about the divisions that this entire process exposed within the GOP. Watch this.
I don't make deals, never have since I became speaker, which is why I'm still surviving with the gavel, right? You have to find out where people's red lines are and navigate through that with what we've had as the smallest margin in U.S. history at most points along the way. But we got it done. No side deals. What the extra time was, we needed that for people to process.
Whether it was Thomas Massie or Rand Paul or Lisa Murkowski, who ended up coming over to her side to the Republican side because Alaska was given more as far as hospitals are concerned. I mean, everyone's going to have a say, and what I think the concern is now as we move forward is you're going to once again, when it comes to reconciliation, people are going to speak up and say, well, wait a minute, I didn't get what I wanted in the big bill, but now I want to have a conversation. And what are your red lines, if you have any, going forward?
Well, I don't have any red lines. I want to continue to grow this country, grow this economy, and make the future better for our kids and our grandkids. And I think we've taken a huge step in that direction with one big, beautiful bill. And the legislative process is a messy one. It always is. I mean, anytime you're going to accomplish big things, there are different regional factions that play in. There's different ideologies within the conference. And it came together. And that's the most important thing. And it came together under President Trump's leadership. And, I think it's a pretty persuasive argument when the president asks you, are you smarter than me? Are you the one that's going to stand in the way of the entire agenda that we all ran for public office on? And now as we look at another reconciliation, we can find, some of these other key issues, things that we don't want the Democrats to use a filibuster and obstruct the progress of this country on. And I think that's so important. Using, we didn't lose this moment like others have lost in the past. I mean, the failures of 2017 after we controlled the entire government and they were unable to, come together and do the repeal and replace efforts that they did back then. Right. We did it. We came together and we won, and now we have to deliver more for the American people.
Well, and again, and we've heard that from other colleagues of yours that because, look, Americans, according to Fox News polling, the one thing they didn't like about the bill was because it added to the federal deficit. It's $3.7 trillion. And so this is your chance now to maybe continue this conversation. legislation. Immigration is big. We had a conversation with a lawmaker last hour telling us, look, it's not about the southern border anymore. Drugs are coming through the northern border. You're a congressman from New York. Obviously, immigration enforcement is big. There's $350 billion in the bill that goes to border and national security. But you've got these 5 Democrat state lawmakers down in Florida. They say they've been denied entry to Alligator Alcatraz. They're trying to visit the facility, safety concerns. And then they say Alligator Alcatraz is a makeshift detention camp. It's cruel, it's corrupt, it's no bid, et cetera, et cetera. But you've got legislation on this, the Safer at the Border Act, because you want to block these dangerous illegals from finding more loopholes on the border. What is that? Tell us more, please.
Well, the Safer at the Border Act, I introduced, I believe, about 10 days ago with Congresswoman Stefanik and support from many others in the conference. And what this does is help. Now we've got the funding for Tom Homan and President Trump's agenda on the border. 0 illegal entries last month. That's a huge step in the right direction. But now we need to plug the loopholes. And that's what the Biden administration did. They had massive loopholes in parole, in the refugee programs, and now we need to close those so that this can never happen again. Because, you know, we got a new president, and he enforced the laws that were there, but the past president created this problem through exploiting loopholes in that parole system, in the refugee system. They abused that system. And what our legislation would do would tighten those holes so they can't be exploited again. So a Democratic administration, if they come in to the White House, can't eviscerate the southern border by just rubber stamping refugee and parole paperwork for people that wander into the country. And this is an important step in that direction. So that we can never have this crisis reemerge.
I've only got a minute left with you, sir, but real quick, I do want to get your thoughts on what we're seeing play out here in New York City. You, of course, are a New York congressman. You've got Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, who is now the mayoral candidate for the Democrats in the city. He wants to defund the police. He wants to freeze rents. He wants the government to take over grocery stores. He refuses to he refuses to say that the globalize the Intifada is some type of call to harm Jewish Americans. Your thoughts before you go.
I think he's a dangerous agenda for the city. The city needs a manager, someone that's a professional that can lift it up to new heights, not socialism. And now we have a manifestation of socialism. It's very dangerous for the future of the city and the state, for that matter, because our economy rises and falls based on New York City. We've had a tremendous flight from New York for years, and I have a feeling that if Mamdani becomes mayor, there's going to be more and more people leaving for more freedom elsewhere, because this is these confiscation agenda items that he has. I mean, government-owned grocery stores. I mean, this is Soviet-style socialism at its very worst. Yeah. And we can't afford that to be what people see when they think of New York. It's a dangerous agenda.
It is. Congressman Nick Langworthy, thank you for being here, Congressman. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Cheryl.